Hi everyone, this is the self-awareness activity for the week of May 3rd. So the awareness, the contemplation card that we get is structure. I think this is really interesting. Okay, structure can be a support we gratefully lean on or a cage which locks us in. Sometimes we're aware of having constructed them, and sometimes we mistakenly credit or blame others. Either way, we've made the choice, consciously or unconsciously, to be in the structures that define our lives and relationships. When a support turns into a cage, be grateful. You've come to an edge of your personality structure and now have the opportunity to redefine what works for you and why. You can be sure that you're bound for new growth and understanding. That's what you're being asked to consider this week. So before I read the others, I just would like to say, all of these cards are really designed to get you reflecting and in a feeling way on how you perceive things. So when you get a card like this for a contemplation card, what I would automatically do is I would look at when I felt frustrated in my life or trapped, either in a relationship that wasn't working or in a job situation or just in a style of how I was living, all work, no play, crazy schedule, whatever it was. Not eating properly is another one too. Like just good things that can look good or not look good. They're all part of our structure, what we create. So when was it a comfortable structure? When was it not a comfortable structure? What made it uncomfortable? When did it start feeling too tight? Like it was starting to pen you in, like it was becoming a cage. And notice at different times in your life when you felt that, and what did you do about it? And if you were to be in one again and you are not now, how would you do it now? Would you do it differently? Okay, so I do like this one because so very often when we start feeling frustrated with situations and or people, it's just we do want to blame, but we've put ourselves there. And if we have outgrown it, then that's, usually when we will feel that tightness. Now, the thing is, sometimes what we'll do is we will stay in the structure that's uncomfortable and we'll just try to get somebody else to change something so that we can feel comfortable in it. And that may not be something they can do. It may be something where we have to find what that change is for ourselves, which may be leaving the structure altogether, but it may just be changing the dynamic of how we work and extending the structure. How might that look? That might be, for example, if I've fallen into a pattern of feeling as though I constantly have to cook for somebody, and I don't want to have to cook all the time, then I might decide, okay, it's not like I'm going to get rid of this person necessarily, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the way cooking happens. Now, that person may not be a cook. That person may not want to cook. What I might have to decide to do at that point is just simply say, it's time to get HelloFresh or order a meal thing, or just decide that maybe the reason you don't want to cook is because you want to take a class or you want to do something outside of the home. You do that instead and then leave them to fend for themselves. That's just one example. And it doesn't have to be in relation to another person. It can be in relation to something with yourself, where it's like, okay, well now, how can I change this up? Oh, I know. I need to eat more vegetables. And I keep throwing vegetables out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to buy a vegetable tray every week. That's interesting. That's one way. So that's a simple way of changing a structure in order to get a good benefit, right? Because I was really, really feeling caught up in this routine of buying the vegetables for one person and ending up having to compost all this food and really not liking it and feeling bad about it. I fixed it with one solution, okay? Now, that's one example. Now, the attitude that you're being asked to embrace in this process, and I think it's really relevant because kindness. This carries a quality of gentleness, empathy, gracious consideration, and humaneness. It may be expressed in an attitude of sympathy, amiability, benevolence, or tenderness. Each time you have the choice to be right or kind, choose kind. So that's a very worthy energy to constantly or to consistently remind yourself is an option for you, because sometimes being cranky is just a habit, right? How can I be kind in this moment? What would be a kind response? If it's about changing a structure, it's very definitely about doing it from a place of kindness with yourself and if other people are involved. You don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You don't need to burn your bridges. Do it with kindness, okay? Sweetheart, you know what? If I have to cook one more meal, that's it. I think I might just collapse. So I'm going to have to change things. Don't know how it's going to be yet, but just want you to know things are going to be changing from here on in. Now, add to this. The reason I like this is because the reason I like kindness in relation to this reflection is because it also really helps us look at the value of what the structure was. Because if we created that structure, we created it that way for a reason. Okay, so if we can be in a kind energy and maintaining a kind attitude when we are looking at structures, past, present, how we want to make them, and we look at it with kindness, it's going to be a lot easier for us to really start understanding some of the deeper reasons why we created that structure, what our needs were, what they were being met, and maybe those needs still need to be met, but in another way. And whenever we can look at a situation with kindness, that's when we're open to inspiration, intuition, ideas connected to our heart, where we're going to get higher quality information, okay, and more of a feeling nature of how to proceed. So this is a really, really great energy to carry in conjunction with this when you're considering structures in your life. Now, the other one that I like really goes very beautifully with structure when it has become a cage. Your awareness activity is stop and allow. Today, notice every time you find a positive thought or dream interrupted with a sneaky thought that tells you it's too good to be true. Stop. Instead, tell your mind that it's at least a possibility, however slight it seems. Just for today, negative self-thought is not a part of the experiment. I'm repeating that. Just for today, negative self-thought is not part of the experiment. So when you're analyzing structures, negative self-thought, not a part of the experiment. And when you're planning how you want to do it, notice what stops you from doing what feels good, okay? Give yourself permission to dream and think in positive terms without censoring yourself. Allow for the possibility. So whatever the structure is that has got you feeling stuck, please look at what stops you from changing it. Consider, when you look at everything with kindness, when you embrace that energy, how can you stay in that positive state while you look at it and while you adjust for where it would go? And where do you find yourself pulling back and holding back, saying, no, I can't? And you might be wanting to change a structure for something magnificent. Are you catching yourself saying, no, it couldn't possibly be that great? But even on a much simpler level, if you're wanting to make a change, say, for example, about the groceries, or you're just thinking about structures, even if it's not coming up with another structure, you're just thinking about structures that are frustrating you. Notice where your mind goes in that negativity and what is stopping you in that moment. This is different, so listen. What is stopping you in that moment when you think about that structure? What's stopping you from feeling happy, from feeling well? Because that's one of the things you want to look at. That is one of the keys to being able to understand what that structure is about, why it's there, and how it can change. Okay? that's it. I think I showed them all to you, but in case you want to take a screenshot and it wasn't clear, you've got structure, you've got kindness, and you've got stop and allow. Okay, so that is the self-awareness activity for May 3rd. I am going to be, at some point this month, I believe, I'm going to be starting to do some kind of live presentation where I pull the cards live, and hopefully with input from other people. So I'm just sorting my schedule out and how I want to do that. But I will put a notice out, and if you guys do, for those of you who haven't already, let me know by submission or email that you would like to be part of that. Please let me know. You can go to my website and go to form submission or contact. Just let me know that you would like to be connected, because I would need your email in order to connect you. And then I will, when that happens, I'll send notifications out to everybody and let people know when and where. It's going to be interesting because we've got people from all over the world right now. So I'm trying to figure out the time zones too, what's going to be, what's going to work for the most people. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much. Have a great week. I appreciate so much your comments, your likes, shares, and subscribes. It really helps the channel. Thank you for tuning in, and take care. Have a great week.